Yeah, I really like that, and it kind of reveals a gap that you can fill. And now I'm very curious about curiosity. So,
Okay.
how do you build curiosity in the sales process?
Yeah. So I teach curiosity as it's the difference between how you call a dog and how you call a cat. And I know that sounds a little out
Yeah,
there.
please do
So
that.
hang with me for just a second.
Sure.
So when you think about when you're trying to get a dog's attention, you tend to change your whole demeanor. You do this thing where you're like, "Come here, boy, come here," right? And you like get your voice like excited and you act excited. And the thing about dogs is they really respond to that kind of energy. They are like, "Oh, I don't even know what's going to happen, but I'm so in," right? The tail starts to wag. They're like ready to go. They don't know if it's a treat, a ride, a bath. They have no idea, but they're so in. And sometimes in a sales conversation, we're so excited to talk to somebody that we show up with what I call the dog calling energy of like, "Oh my gosh, Dan, I looked at your website. Here's all the things I can do for you." That's that dog calling energy. Now, if you flip it and you think about how you call a cat, cats would never respond to that, right? Cats will respond sometimes when you do the "here, kitty, kitty, here, kitty, kitty." That's enough for a cat to lean in or at least give you a look like what? Like they're engaged enough to see what could come next. They're not necessarily committed yet. And when you're trying to pique somebody's curiosity, you need to have responses, oftentimes to questions. This is one way, by the way. There's multiple ways to create curiosity, but one way is to think about how do you answer questions to create curiosity that pique somebody's interest to go, "Tell me more about that," or "What does that mean?" or "Oh my gosh, I'm not really sure." So kind of actually what I just did was a way to create curiosity when I said, "Do you know how to create curiosity when you're talking about your business?" And you go, "Tell me more about that." That gives you that opening. So another way to do this is to think about how do you answer a really basic question. If you get on a call with somebody and they say something like, "Hey, how's your week going?" You might have just a standard throwaway line, but that's actually a potential opportunity to create curiosity. What could you say right now that would allow somebody to go like, "Oh, tell me more about that," or "What does that mean?" So if somebody said, "How's your week going?" you could say, "Oh my gosh, I just finished being on a podcast. It was really fun." And somebody goes, "A podcast? Well, what podcast were you on?" Like it gets them to lean in and have a question for you. Now, that may, you only want to say something that you want them to ask about.